Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is set to introduce many different twists and turns as well as surprises in this film that'll change how we view the past 8 Star Wars films that come before this one by director J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film is really going to answer a lot of questions from The Force Awakens, as well as delivering many different revelations in Episode 9. In fact, Eunice Watama, the man who portrays Chewbacca in the sequels, even said that the entire movie is a "I did not see this coming" moment, which really is a bold statement. It tells us that this film really is going to deliver when it comes to a lot of different twists and turns that will change how we view some of the characters within the Skywalker saga. Now, on top of all of this, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that shot descriptions consisting of a sequence based in the second act of the film, where it's explained that Rey is training inside of the Crystal Cave, where she is described to be studying many of Luke Skywalker's relics that she took from Ahch-To. It's said that one of the sequences is said to involve Rey going through her backpack, where she discovers a relic that once belonged to Obi-Wan Kenobi, that was handed down to him by Qui Gon Jinn. It's described that Kenobi kept this relic a secret inside of his hut on Tatooine, where Luke discovered it sometime after the events of Return of the Jedi. It's described to be one of the keys to the Dark Temples in the unknown regions that would serve as a pathway to the beyond. Qui-Gon was said to have discovered this sometime before the events of the Phantom Menace, that was eventually handed down to Kenobi, where Luke studied this artifact. The device was said to have been created and crafted by a fallen Will many years ago, where Qui-Gon Jinn would often communicate with the Wills that led him to this device. Kenobi was said to have kept this device of a big secret, and eventually Kenobi's Force Ghost guided Luke Skywalker to discovering this relic on Tatooine, while Luke Skywalker was on the path to becoming a Jedi Master. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, we do know that Episode 9 is going to introduce new types of Star Wars lore, and what I mean by that is, if you look at Star Wars lore right now, you know, the recognizable pieces are lightsabers, holocrons, kyber crystals, you name it, blasters. When we look at that, the fact that J.J. Abrams is really adding in a different medium of Star Wars lore and Star Wars artifacts and relics, this one of course serving as a key to one of the Dark Temples that Qui-Gon Jinn had discovered one time before in the past, due to, of course, the Wills actually leading Qui-Gon to discovering this and communicating with him at some point in time before the events of the Phantom Menace, where this key was actually said to be crafted by a fallen Will that leads to a Dark Temple over in the unknown regions. Now, what I like about this so much is that this is, of course, not only tapping into a big secret provided by Kenobi about Qui-Gon Jinn that was eventually discovered and picked up by Luke that is now in the hands of Rey. What I also love about this is that this is an artifact that is pretty much falling into the hands throughout the ages. It once belonged to Qui-Gon, Kenobi, Luke, and now Rey, and who knows where, you know, it's really going to end up in the coming years after the events of Episode 9. So the Dark Temples, we do know that they will play a role in Episode 9 to a certain extent, and that they will answer a lot of questions about the beyond, and of course the unknown regions themselves. Now, we're still not quite sure exactly what the beyond really is. We've been talking about this for a very long time, and we're still not quite sure whether or not it's a brand new galaxy, if it's, let's say, for example, a different dimension or realm, or maybe it's the very edge of the unknown regions just before you leave the galaxy. Now, with that being said, we do know that Episode 9 is going to involve a lot of different revelations that are actually going to bring Rey on a specific path in this movie. So her discovering this big secret by Kenobi about Qui-Gon Jinn, and how he kept it secret for so very long, and how it eventually fell into the hands of Luke, you can really see that they're really trying to treat these objects, these artifacts, if you will, throughout the generations in a respectful manner. So on top of all of this, the fallen Will. I gotta talk about this for a little bit because it's a very interesting side of Star Wars. We've known about the Wills for a very long time, though they haven't really been deeply explored at all in a live-action Star Wars movie, which they will be in The Rise of Skywalker. However, on top of the wills, we have a thing called a fallen will, a godlike being that watched over the entire universe and even played a role in the creation of the galaxy. So essentially, a fallen will is a rogue will, basically doing things for, you know, the good or evil or whatever have you, but more catered to the evil and or dark side of the Force. Now, what I like about this is that this is, of course, giving us a different medium of the Star Wars franchise than what we would have never expected to see on the big screen in the Skywalker saga. And I've really got to give a lot of credit to J.J. Abrams for doing something so incredible as that. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.